What's up, everybody? So in this video, I was originally intending to make a video talking about the law of attraction and a lot of the principles that people in the law of attraction communities talk about that are grounded in science. But instead, I ended up spending the majority of the time kind of ranting about self-fulfilling prophecies and how basically what you believe is possible for you is actually going to dictate your degree of success. I've been in a really ranting mood lately, and that's why a lot of videos haven't really come out of my channel, because every time I start recording a video with a subject in my mind, I just go on and on about a wide variety of topics, and I kind of branch out. And I think a lot of people still enjoy these rants. I think a lot of people actually enjoy these rants the most that I post. It rhymed. But yeah, so I figure I'm going to chop this video up, and I'm just going to post it about self-fulfilling prophecies, limiting beliefs, and basically you need to understand that you need to have a growth mindset. And if you really want to be happy in life and you really want to achieve good things in life, that you need to start to identify areas of your life where you have negative beliefs that are actually not true and are holding you back. So in this video, I actually talk a lot about my own experience being diagnosed with severe mental illness as a child, and kind of how limiting beliefs could have kept me in and out of mental hospitals, but I ended up rising above that. And basically none of the stuff the doctors told me was true about myself. None of that stuff actually came true because I didn't believe it. I talk a little bit about other people and how people who believe in, that they are depressed and therefore their whole life is messed up. Like how I think my situation, my diagnosis was way worse than supposed genetic depression, and they could probably rise above it if they believed that they could. I talk about money and limiting beliefs about money, and one of my best friends and how he grew up in the hood and was able to make an amazing financial success for himself. And I also talk a little bit about my own mother, who is amazing and grew up very, very poor, and a family of 6 siblings, including herself, and was able to rise above that and create a pretty insane net worth of her business. Her business became a net worth, and how basically a lot of people have limiting beliefs, basically thinking you have to be part of a rich family or part of the Illuminati or something in order to be financially successful. But in reality, most people, they're actually succumbing to negativity bias, and they really want to believe that they are limited by external circumstances. But in reality, it's actually their own mind and their own decision on what they choose to believe that's actually holding them back. And I also discuss the myth of age-related decline. And I'll make a whole nother video about the science behind age-related decline, because that's a very evidence-based topic, and the majority of people talking about it don't know how to interpret science. So this is a philosophy-type video and more of a rant, rather than like, oh, this is the evidence, and this is why the evidence, how to perceive the evidence in these different ways, and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just telling you, hey, look, you're probably not limited by a neurochemical imbalance in your brain. Neurochemical imbalance in the brain is probably not the reason why you're unsuccessful or unhappy. Your own genetics, your own family, your own connections, probably not the main cause of your financial failures or successes. And low testosterone at the age of fucking 40. A lot of people think, oh, I'm 45 years old. That's why I'm weak and fragile and I'm low on energy. Basically, I talk a little bit about why that's probably not the case. And I explain a little bit into reverse causation and the actual scientific literature. All right, but this is not intended to be a scientific video. Hopefully y'all like it. Let me know in the comments if you do like it, so that I know people actually want to hear this, because I've made many videos like this already in the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I was like, this isn't that good, so I just never posted it. So if you let me know you like this type of ranting content, you'll get a lot more of it, that's for sure. Because my brain is always full of ideas. One more caveat is that I think I was pumped up on a little bit too much coffee for this video. So if I'm talking a little fast, that's probably why. And I guarantee that red ginseng root this morning definitely didn't help. All right, y'all, enjoy. All right, so let's begin this. So self-fulfilling prophecies, okay? So basically, self-fulfilling prophecies is the idea that if you believe you can achieve something, believing you're going to achieve something is going to subconsciously help to create the habits and the behaviors and the thoughts and help you take the actions that will actually get you what you believe you're going to accomplish, okay? Self-fulfilling prophecies are very real. They have a lot of evidence to support them in the scientific literature. And there's many well-respected authors that have talked about this, okay? Dr. David Schwartz in the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, has written a lot about this, and he's more so he was an expert in sales and finances in the 1950s. You have people like Anthony Robbins, one of the greatest success coaches of all times. And then you also have people like Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the top 10 greatest self-help or life success books of all times. And he really specializes in successful families and relationships and stuff like that. Top 10 lists of all time on the vast majority of the most successful people who make lists like this, their books. There's a reason why. And self-fulfilling prophecies is one of the top principles on these people's lists. Self-fulfilling prophecies, lots and lots of psychologists, their whole entire purpose is to help you create self-fulfilling prophecies, help you see what's possible, and because you believe that in your ability. What is the number one trait people always talk about that is necessary to actually be successful? It's believing in yourself. You hear this all the time. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can accomplish something. And, people will take it to the extreme and just say, if you believe it, you can achieve it. You hear that all the time, okay? That is a huge thing, is people say, if you can believe it, you can achieve it, okay? And there's a reason why. Well, also, you look at a lot of these dating coaches and stuff like that, and people that talk about attraction and success with women, they always say, what's the most attractive trait about a man? And they'll say confidence, okay? And realistically, it's actually a sense of self-worth, okay? I'm going to make another video talking about what confidence actually is and what what other words people really mean when they say confidence. A lot of people but sense of self-worth is actually the trait that that girls think is attractive in a man. Sense of self-worth that comes from many other things. But they'll always say confidence. And confidence really is just how certain you are in your ability to actually achieve something and make something happen. And that usually happens from practice and developing skills over time. That's how confidence is really developed, is practice, okay? But in order for you to actually go through the process of practicing a skill to become confident in it, you have to believe that you can actually achieve it. Because one of the most common reasons why people stop practicing, why people don't pursue a goal, is because they don't believe that they can actually accomplish it. Belief, it really is number one. And that is usually the thing that separates people that don't conquer their problems and people that do. Because if you believe you can achieve it, eventually you're going to chip away and grind at it so hard that you're going to actually find a way. Okay? And another part to this is growth mindset versus fixed mindset. People who are fixed in believing that, my circumstances dictate my behavior. My genetics dictate my behavior. I have genetic depression. I have genetic bipolar or genetic schizophrenia, which, by the way, I was diagnosed with multiple severe mental illnesses when I was younger, in and out of mental hospitals. The only reason, and my doctors told me that I was never going to live a normal life. Okay, and that I was never going to be able to live by myself, never going to be able to have an actual relationship with someone, never going to be able to hold a job, and all this other crap. And guess what? That reality did not come to fruition because I didn't buy into it. I didn't believe that I was had a genetic chemical imbalance in my brain, and therefore I rose above where everyone else failed who believes that they have mental illnesses. And most people believe that they have genetic depression or anxiety. And while depression sucks, everyone goes through it to some degree, as well as anxiety. Just some people dwell in it longer than others, okay? The fact of the matter is, the only reason why I was able to overcome it and other people were not, besides the fact that I had a decent support group that helped me kind of like work my way out of it, it's the fact that I believed I was healthy. I believed way more in myself than a lot of those doctors did. And now my reality reflects that. Okay? And to me, I think that I have the credibility as far as what I've kind of ran into to recognize you believing that you are genetically incapable, right? Whether it's, I have genetic depression or whatever. I see this all the time in these Reddit groups of people who have depression and anxiety where they talk. I've seen people, they're like, people tell me I will feel better if I just go outside. But the problem is when I go outside, I go on a walk to the park, as somebody with genetic depression, I see all of these happy couples who are walking around with smiles on their faces and they're happy. And it reminds me why I'm depressed, because I'm never going to be able to have happy relationships like them. And it's like, well, these people are not stepping outside of their fixed mindset and recognizing that their interpretation and how they're perceiving these happy couples, they're just using the happy couples to reinforce their depression. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that makes them remain depressed, okay? And for me, someone who was diagnosed with all sorts of mental illness when I was a child and being in and out of mental hospitals and stuff, okay, doctors were telling me I was never going to rise above that. Most people, they listen to these doctors that say, oh, you have a genetic thing, you're doomed for life, got to be on medications forever, always going to be mentally ill. And they believe that shit. And so they're always reinforcing, oh, I am not in a regular school, or I don't have regular success because I am mentally ill, and blah, blah, blah. There's a couple of reasons why they justify it. Number one, it's their belief system, it's how they see the world. And that creates confirmation bias. Confirmation bias does not just deal with your political beliefs or your scientific beliefs either. Confirmation bias is a psychological phenomenon in the human experience that is always active in every single subject that you focus on in reality. Literally anything that you talk about, anything, right now, what you're listening to in this video, you're filtering it through your confirmation bias. There's a reticular activation system, part of your brain, or the prefrontal cortex, whatever, or your filter, okay, or the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. There's a part of your brain that is literally, it's listening to this information, it's filtering it through what you already believe and through what you want to believe, what you want to justify, the belief you want to reinforce. This is key. This is what your brain is looking for evidence to back it up and to justify whatever it is you want to believe. And this is where creating your reality comes into play. Because if you want to believe you can do better, you need to start to look for evidence that you can do better. But most people are looking for evidence as to why they can't accomplish things. Why can't I gain muscle? Oh, I'm 50 years old. It's because I'm getting older. Testosterone. I'm becoming fragile, whatever it is, right? When I was younger, I used to be able to go and exercise all day. But now that I'm 50 years old, I'm too old and I'm fragile and I'll injure myself and I just get really tired. When in reality, it's because, sports science literally says whatever you do on a daily basis, you adapt yourself to. And so basically, people don't realize it because they're looking through the lens of I'm old and incapable. The fact is, when you're younger, you have greater fitness because you have recess in schools. Your mom and dad encourage you to go outside and climb trees and shit like that. Riding your bike, you're doing more exercise and you have less responsibilities that make you sit down and be sedentary. And therefore, you have a greater ability, a greater tolerance to high level of exercise. But as you get older, you have decades under your belt of being lazy and not really being highly active. And therefore, your body adapts to being lazy and not highly active. And you may not be able to realize it because you believe that it's because you're old, because you have that confirmation bias. But the fact is, the real reason why you feel so old and the real reason why you feel so like you can't tolerate exercise and you feel so out of shape is because you have adapted your body to be out of shape because of all the years that you spent taking care of your kids and working your 9-to-5 desk job and stuff like that. And then when you get home, you're so mentally tired that you're just sitting on the couch. Okay, this is another very common confirmation bias, self-fulfilling prophecy that people constantly reinforce. And I see this all the time, okay? So I don't want to hang on this subject for too much longer. I'll have to make a whole nother video about this. The science on this subject, also people are like, oh, look, the science, it's pretty clear. As you get older, you get more fragile. Actually, no, that is reverse causation, or correlation does not equal causation. Again, people don't understand science and how science works and how to interpret studies. So they're just like, look, there's a greater correlation between, bone mineral density. You lose muscle when you get older. You lose bone mineral density. You get weaker. You lose energy as you get older. The science says that. It's like, no, what the science is showing is as people get older, they have more responsibilities, they're more sedentary, and therefore their body becomes weaker as a result of less exercise. You are not going to overcome your fragility at an older age by believing that it is your older age that's causing your fragility. Meanwhile, you have countless examples of people at the age of 40, 50, 60. I have trained so many clients who didn't believe in themselves, and I made them believe in themselves, and they are squatting over 200 pounds now. They used to think, oh my God, that's insane. 200 pounds is a lot of weight. And, there's people who are like over the age of 60 who are squatting 500 pounds for reps and shit like that, or even over 300 pounds for reps, But because of your previous experiences with fragility, all your friends are fragile. Everyone in your town is fragile. You don't purposely look for videos of people squatting over 400 pounds. You don't purposely look for experiences of people. You don't have friends. You don't know a lot of people. You don't see a lot of people who were previously in and out of mental hospitals when they were younger and diagnosed with bipolar disorder and this and that, who overcame that shit and are living a normal, healthy life now. No, the majority of the people that you see in your surroundings are fragile people who believe that they cannot do it. Experiences and people and places and things that reinforce why you cannot overcome it. So the way you're perceiving reality helps to reinforce your current beliefs of things. That's your confirmation bias. And then it reinforces self-fulfilling prophecies where you believe you're old and fragile and incapable. Well, what the fuck am I going to do then? Well, I'm too old to exercise. I'll just sit on my ass. And then you never get more fit because of it. Or you get a little bit fit, but not as fit as you could be because you believe, oh, I don't want to hurt myself, or I'm just old and that's why I can sit on my ass because I'm old, whatever. Okay? Damn. So, yeah, I went kind of way off. Okay, rags to riches. Rags to riches, another example. People, I see this all the time. They're like, oh, rich people are evil. You got to join the Illuminati to be rich. They're rich because they have rich families. And it's like, well, actually, I have plenty of friends myself who grew up in the hood. Okay, because, for me, don't even ask me why. It's a whole nother story in and of itself. But when I was younger, I used to ride the bus all over my city. Okay, well, I live in San Antonio. Okay, and the city's very diverse. And I've been all over the the west side, the south side. They have the best girls, by the way. I will admit, I love Latinas. The sweetest girls too come from those sides of town, interestingly. Anyway, spent a lot of time on those sides of towns, have lots of friends, dated the majority of my girlfriends were amazing Latinas from those sides of towns. Great family. Well, anyway, I have lots of friends who grew up in that hood, and they were really, really poor when they were younger. And man, they rose above it. They're some of the most positive people I know, and they really grinded their asses off. And now they can afford living on the better side of town. A lot of them don't. They choose not to because they love the hood so much. But they're not a victim to the same circumstances that so many other people in the hood are, because they saw a greater future for themselves, and they believed that they could rise above it, and they created that self-fulfilling prophecy that led them into the future. They used visualization, the power of belief, and channeling their focus to in a way that empowered them to rise above. And I have a friend right now in my mind who has a family of over 6, and he's out there. I don't want to say his name, but he's out there grinding right now. He's like, he has his business where he goes and he finds like cool little items and stuff that he sees at flea markets and stuff, and he sells them in garage sales and online, has an online store and stuff like that. And his children are selling lemonade today, which is interesting, and they're doing great. They're doing great. He has his own business, multiple employees. So I'm not even going to get into that. Also, I don't want to say personal people, but I've seen it with my own eyes. My own family. Okay, I don't want to say specifics. My own family. I guess I will. No, whatever. My own family. Okay, my mom. Damn it. Okay. My freaking mom, okay, grew up, her family, it was a family of like 6 siblings, including herself, okay? Very, very poor. They were eating ramen noodles and like, the cheapest of the cheap food, hardly had enough food to really do anything, okay? Like one grilled cheese sandwich, for a day, if even that, right? Grew up, really, really, really poor. Hardly had enough money for clothes or anything like that, okay? And she, eventually became an insurance agent for a while. She didn't really like that job. She eventually, her mom, my grandma, became sick, and she had to stay at home now to take care of my granny. And to homeschool me, long story short. And she came from a very, very rich childhood. And interestingly enough, my mom went from being an insurance agent to again, going to Goodwill, reselling little items she found at Goodwill, mystery boxes at the time. She'd buy a group of items and stuff for like $10, and she'd often find a lot of like rare finds in there, like little Disney toys that would resell for like $500, like rare ones sometimes, and books she'd find at some of these thrift stores or garage sales that they're selling for like $4, and it ends up being worth $50 on eBay. And from that, ended up creating like $1 million business or something like that. I don't want to go into too much detail with all of these personal details, but I've seen with my own eyes, and my mom, admittedly, she has always taken on a lot of responsibility, lived a pretty relatively high stress life, been pretty stressed. She's not the most optimistic person a lot of the time, and I think mostly because she has so many responsibilities, so much stress a lot of the time that it's hard for her to maintain optimism. Yet to me, she's a great example of someone who defied the normal idea that, you need a rich family and this and that in order to become successful. My mom, I saw it with my own eyes, that if she saw something greater, doesn't matter where she is now, she can create that higher thing, okay? The problem with a lot of people, is that they have all these limiting beliefs that create a self-fulfilling prophecy and keep them stuck, okay? Geez, I have not even gotten into the rest of this list, okay? So I guess we'll make parts of this video, okay? And this one will be, So it's really important to understand that Most people are attempting to reinforce their own limiting beliefs or just their own beliefs in general. And that's where they're operating from. When someone else is telling you what they think is factual about life, when someone else is telling you what they think about you, what they think about them, what they think is possible, they are just reflecting their own belief system. It is no bearing on your own life and what is actually possible for you. Okay? Again, when I was younger, I had people that were telling me all these reasons why I was not able to do the things that I've done. Okay? And according to the doctors that I had when I was younger, okay, and maybe one day I'll go into more detail about my own life and things, but to put it simply, there were I cry sometimes looking back at my childhood, at all the things I've gone through, and the serious doses of medication that I was on that would have killed a horse, okay? Like 2,400 milligrams of Seroquel from the age of 9 until 21. And then horrible withdrawal symptoms afterwards, right? It doesn't surprise me why so many people, after they get off an antipsychotic medication, they think that, oh shit, I'm, having a relapse and going back to my psychotic symptoms. Like, bro, you're withdrawing from the medication is probably what's happening. But don't take my word for it. This is my own experience. You may have a problem that was way worse than mine. But if I would have believed I was just mentally ill as doctors said I was, believe me, I would not be able to, live on my own, have relationships with people, like a long-term relationship that I've had with, that was pretty successful as far as I've seen, especially compared to everyone else's. So the vast majority of people, here's another thing that was very interesting. A lot of people that you may think are adults or that you may think have their shit together, they may actually have way more issues than you think. A lot of people, okay, you have to understand people's beliefs about relationships, their beliefs about money, their beliefs about, females. Like I hear a lot of, I don't even want to get into it, men who blame females for their problems, which is just very bad, okay? The females are not inherently bad, okay? But if you're a rotten personality as a man, then you're going to see a lot of rotten personalities from females and just people in general. Anyway, you have to understand that a lot of people who are telling you, yeah, relationships are just bad, you're going to have a lot of, fights and, getting married sucks and all this other crap, that is not the truth. That's just what they've experienced. 75% of people in society have, their life is not that great. And so when you hear people saying life is pain, you have to struggle and embrace the suck and shit like that, that is not true. And that is how they view reality, and that's how they get the results that they've gotten. So if you want good results in your life, you need to look at the people that have the results that you want, especially results in happiness. If you see a guru who seems pretty happy all the time, seems pretty empowered, and has an optimistic attitude, you need to recognize that this man has developed that skill, or this female, or whoever it is. That's a skill they developed. A really bad kind of mind virus people get into is assuming, oh, Wolfgang on YouTube has a great life because he has, genetics, or because he has he's rich, or his family is rich, or, everything is perfect in his life because of, I don't know, his genetics or something, right? Right. But I have, genetic imbalance in my brain, or whatever it is, the mind virus is thinking, well, he is not buff because of his nutrition. He is not buff because of his exercise. He's buff because of his genetics. Or he is, damn it, he's happy because he's a millionaire. Or he's happy because he's good looking. It's like, no, he is happy because of some inherent thing, some things some skills that he has developed, some mind habits that he has developed, okay? Right? right? Because if you just believe that everyone that is happier than you are is that way because they have something special that you don't have, you are never going to be able to rise above where you're currently at. All right. So I don't know. I think I've nailed this one into the, I think this one's good enough. So yeah, let's see if there's some other things I missed here. I mean, yeah, so negativity bias. So what you'll find is the majority of people on the internet, okay, like a lot of people you may know, like they're addicted to negativity. They're addicted to arguing and in unproductive fashions, literally just seeking fights. People are addicted to negativity. They're addicted to believing that that their negativity is justified. People are addicted to believing that they cannot do better. They can't overcome their addiction to cigarettes. They can't overcome their addiction to junk food. They can't, I'm arguing with people on the internet because of politics and I'm doing good for the world. Never, ever fool yourself into thinking, wasting your time freaking out at people on the internet, cussing people out or being mad at people that you don't even fucking know is somehow making the world better, okay? Everything that you're doing, it benefits you some way, but you just may not recognize what benefit you're getting from that. Okay, a lot of people who are arguing, oh, he is a Republican or he is a Democrat, arguing with him, blah, blah, blah. It might not have anything to do with politics. You might just be trying to fight some kind of childhood trauma that you have not healed from yet, and that's fueling what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. That's fueling your knee-jerk emotional reaction to it. And, because why else would you spend so much time and energy being angry about people you never met before that you don't even know? They may be really good people in person, but you just are like, oh, you're not angry at that random stranger on the internet. There's something inside of you that hurts, that's pain. And you are fighting that pain inside of you whenever you're triggered by random strangers in traffic, random strangers on the internet. Okay? It really makes no logical sense for you to be upset at people you don't know. And that's because you're not upset at them. You are unaware. You're unconscious of what you're actually upset about. And that is important. And so that's part of also, the negativity bias and whatnot. So anyway, we're going to make other videos on the placebo effect, visualization, confirmation bias. So confirmation bias, we'll talk about here. Confirmation bias. The mind is constantly seeking evidence to back up pre-existing beliefs and current thoughts, okay? Reticular activating system. We already kind of talked about that. So whatever you believe about reality is true, or whatever you want to believe. It's more so what you want to believe. Whatever you want to believe is true, you're going to be trying to reinforce that. And anytime someone challenges what you want to be true, you're going to fight it. You're like, oh, no, but this and this and this. So the confirmation bias is a natural part of the human experience. The law of attraction is a way of you molding your confirmation bias to make it work for you instead of against you. You really can't get away from the confirmation bias and remove it completely, but you can use it to your advantage. Okay? And so, trying to debunk the law of attraction and all this shit, it's probably usually because it's, the law of attraction, anytime you try to debunk something, it's because, well, it goes against something you want to be true or something that you think is true. Sometimes it has merit, right? But it depends on how you frame it. If you're just like, no, it absolutely is not true, well, that's not a scientific debunking. Scientific debunking would be discussing the evidence point by point and discussing how likely and how unlikely it is that that's actually accurate. Very different from just being like, oh, no, these are the absolute facts and you're absolutely false. Science does not work in absolutes. But yeah, if you want to believe that you're a victim to your circumstances and that you can't overcome limitations, of course you're going to be like, no, what about the starving kids in Africa and this and that? Well, it's like, starving kids in Africa definitely need to solve that issue, but it also doesn't really debunk, it doesn't really have any conflict with, the idea that your thoughts are a magnet and stuff like that, but yeah. So anyway, let's see. Stress effects on health, spontaneous healing. Yeah. So for those who don't know, the placebo effect, self-fulfilling prophecies, visualization, all of these things actually have a lot of scientific evidence behind them. We know that stress actually has objective, measurable effects on your health. Negative emotions, negative thoughts can actually directly and indirectly affect your physiology. There are two really good books that are completely different, but they talk about how people have healed their circumstances using mind and emotion manipulation and things like that. Spiritual healing and some of these other things that I'm not really an advocate of. But this book's called Spontaneous Healing, one by Dr. Andrew Weil, and another one by a different doctor. You should look into that. It's pretty interesting. I have a whole textbook from like the early 1990s on using the mind and healing your body, and it's just like a freaking 500-page review of the scientific literature supporting all the different ways that changing your mind can impact disease risk and prevention and reversal of disease. I think it's called Mind Body Medicine, and it's got a white and blue cover. Mirror neurons. So whenever you walk into a job interview, just smiling at somebody. There's actually, we know that it's been documented. We have neurons in our brain that generally can, when someone else feels sad, we can feel their sadness because of mirror neurons. And also, we typically will reflect back whatever facial expressions and emotions someone else is feeling. Yeah, and then there's weird magic and synchronicities and people, places, and events that tend to transpire from utilizing law of attraction. So anyway, this has been mostly a video about self-fulfilling prophecies and limiting beliefs, but I'll have to make other videos on the other topics. Like, look, I have literally tried so hard to make freaking concentrated videos. The past 2 weeks, I've recorded so many videos I was going to post on YouTube, but I've constantly just felt like these videos are not good. People are not going to like them. I keep going off into too many directions. I'm not actually expressing the exact kind of like topic I want to get across. And this time I even made a kind of brief outline. But I just have so much on my mind lately that it's been hard for me to just get perfect information out. So I'm just going to get this. I'm just going to release this, and I'm just going to keep releasing whatever the fuck comes to me. I'm going to try my best to make this shit work. And hopefully y'all enjoy it. If you guys watch this video and actually like it, let me know in the comments. Because I don't know. I don't feel I don't feel the value from this, which is interesting. Well, I know the value, but yeah. So, I'm not using toxic positivity. I'm not using delusion. I'm not trying to pretend as if this video is good enough, right? Does that mean that I'm like not using law of attraction? I'm a hypocrite? Well, the fact of the matter is people who actually understand the law of attraction will understand that you shouldn't really worry, If you feel a certain way, you feel a certain way. And trying really hard to resist these feelings, being scared of these feelings is actually not beneficial. So yeah. All right. Hopefully it's worked. Let me know down in the comments. I'll talk to y'all next time. Hopefully this shit was good.